It's considered one of the richest countries in the world in terms of its biodiversity. The island of Sri Lanka is home to an enviable number of indigenous flora and fauna. But man and beast are increasingly at loggerheads over living space. And fears are growing that the country's national parks, set up to preserve its precious wildlife, could be destroyed to make way for plantations, farmland, and village homes. I recently traveled to Sri Lanka to examine the government's campaign to protect its forests before it's too late.
We don't have sufficient manpower at the moment.
We don't have a natural policy or national plan to protect or even identify our natural resources.
People always think about the money.
They are concerns that are a far cry from centuries ago, when Sri Lanka's King Devanampiya Tessa created the world's first wildlife sanctuary in 3000 BC. Rulers thereafter have passed edicts to protect the country's wilderness, but it seems those laws are now failing Sri Lanka's wildlife. In this millennium, man-made threats such as development, poaching, and logging are increasingly disturbing forest areas.
In year 1900, the population was 3.5 million people, and right now the population is over a little over 19 million. So the main reason is the population increase and the utilization of forest land for non-forest purposes. So this is the major issue we are facing.
And this is what wildlife is facing today, their natural habitat slowly eroding.
The wildlife is under threat because we don't even enforce the present laws to protect our forest habitat. So the main important thing to wildlife is protect the forest habitats to sustain their life. So that we don't have much interest from the government side to protect these wildlife habitats.
Out of the dozen established national parks in Sri Lanka, only 4 are open to the public. The others have been victims of the country's ongoing civil war and profit-making, such as deforestation, to make way for village homes. Can you tell us roughly what kind of flora and fauna and wildlife have been lost because of a lack of a national strategy?
Yeah, we have lots. For example, we have the highest biodiversity in the Asian countries, but in 1887 we have the figures that we had 80% of forest cover, but now it came down to 20%. So that means we are talking about our spiders or a leech or other birds or a type of small animals, which means we have lost the most rich part of Sri Lanka biodiversity.
A 4-hour drive from Colombo will take you to Singaraja National Park, where you can see just how rich the country's wildlife is. UNESCO declared it a World Heritage Site in 1989. It represents Sri Lanka's only remaining rainforest that's been left virtually undisturbed. But it seems in Sri Lanka's most protected forests, precious flora and fauna are quickly being exploited and lost.
I think nearly 64 medicinal plants already smuggled in from Sri Lanka and already taken patent for some of them.
They do the scientific work by hiring scientists here, and they patent in those countries, in the West. And you know, it's very, very difficult for us to go there and fight against those patents because it is so very, very costly.
But all that may change soon. The government plans to reorganize its 12 national parks and its handful of zoological gardens to improve the protection of wildlife, their habitat, and endemic plants. The Asian Development Bank will provide $41 million in loans to kickstart the mammoth overhaul. It will include boosting conservation programs, the number of park rangers, and streamlining management of sanctuaries and forests.
The forest is the habitat for elephants and any wildlife. So the protection of forests is definitely going to protect elephant population in the country. And actually one of the major the strategy should be to establish the corridors to link, because most of our protected areas and most of our forests are fragmented.
Many hope that the restructuring project will mean other national parks will be like Singaraja, which is almost completely protected. Park Ranger Sena Somasiri points out how virgin the forest is.
55 million for this forest.
55 million years old.
Yes.
There's much to be explored in this 8,800 hectares of wilderness. Singaraja is the country's pride and joy. Sri Lankans see this national forest as the paragon of paradise, so it's no wonder they consider it paradise on earth. This medieval forest is home to more than 10,000 species of flora and fauna.
We are volunteer and we love it, the Singaraja. We want to learn about Singaraja. We know about 3,600 species. The other species we don't know about. No research.
No research? Maybe too many?
Too many research.
Singaraja is host to so much flora and fauna that it's become a magnet for local and foreign academics and students. In the 1980s, a special research center was built near the medieval forest. Martin Wijasinga, a park ranger for 17 years, says the center has been successful in educating the public on how to respect nature.
Actually, I'm supervisor in there. Yeah, some at that time many universities people like a professor, doctor, like educated people come in here and doing some research at that time. I know the whole plant, 99% I can do identified using the scientific name, and animals, everything I can do identified.
You can identify 99%
Yeah.
of the flora, fauna, and wildlife by their scientific name.
Yeah.
While veteran park rangers like Martin can identify with the value of the plants and animals in Singaraja, they know more needs to be done quickly to protect all of Sri Lanka's wilderness before it's too late.